The massive bronze dragon lay sprawled across 3 parking spaces outside the Terran Medical Center, his serpentine neck craned to peer through the reinforced windows. Zix 947, designation failed service dragon, watched the human female named Lily cradle her infant son Jackson in the waiting room. The Galactic Service Corps had deemed Zix a failure 18 cycles ago. Too independent, they said. Too emotional, too human-like in his thinking. Service dragons were supposed to be obedient, predictable, efficient. Zix was none of those things. He questioned orders, felt empathy for his charges, and worst of all, he formed unauthorized emotional attachments. But Lily didn't know any of that. She only knew that when her husband died in the mining accident on Kepler 442b, a dragon had appeared at her doorstep, offering help. Not the cold clinical assistance of an assigned service animal, but something warmer, something real. The doctors will see Jackson now, Lily whispered to the dragon's massive eye pressed against the window. Her voice carried through their neural link, a connection that shouldn't exist between human and dragon but somehow did. Zix shifted his enormous bulk, causing nearby hovercars to bounce on their landing cushions. The reptilian couple emerging from one vehicle hissed in annoyance, their forked tongues flicking disdainfully at the malfunctioned dragon. Zix ignored them. His focus remained entirely on the small human family inside. Through their bond, he felt Lily's anxiety spike as she carried 6-month-old Jackson down the sterile corridor. The infant had been sick for weeks, a rare genetic condition that human medicine struggled to treat, but which other species had conquered centuries ago. The problem was access. Humans were still considered a developing species by the Galactic Council, restricted from advanced medical technologies. Zix's massive head swiveled as he tracked their movement through the building. The dragon's enhanced senses could detect Jackson's labored breathing, his elevated temperature, the chemical markers of distress in both mother and child. Every protective instinct in his artificially enhanced dragon brain screamed at him to act. "I'm sorry," Dr. Valdez was saying as Zix's acute hearing picked up the conversation 3 floors up. "We've done everything we can with available treatments. The genetic therapy Jackson needs, it's not approved for human use. The Galactic Medical Board classifies it as advanced species only." Lily's heart rate spiked. Through their link, Zix felt her desperation like a physical blow. "But the Altarian clinic on Vega Station has it," she whispered. "I researched everything. They could cure him in days. Ms. Chen, the transport alone would cost more than most humans make in a lifetime. And without proper authorization," Zix unfolded his wings. They stretched nearly 40 meters, casting shadows across the medical complex. Several security drones immediately surrounded him, their warning lights flashing. "Unregistered dragon, state your purpose." Zix's rumbling voice carried across 3 city blocks. "I am Zix 947. I am here for my human. You have no registered human. Report to Galactic Service Corps for reconditioning." "No." The simple word carried such finality that the security drones actually paused their harassment protocol. Dragons didn't say no. They followed programming, completed assignments, served the greater galactic good. They didn't form opinions. Zix launched himself skyward with a thunderous beat of his wings. Inside the medical center, Lily felt the familiar warmth of their connection grow stronger. Images flashed through her mind, not her own memories, but Zix's. She saw herself through his eyes, saw Jackson, saw the love that had grown in a dragon's artificial heart for 2 humans who had never asked for anything, but had given him everything that mattered. She saw his plan. "No, Zix," she whispered, knowing he could hear her across any distance. "You'll get in trouble. They'll decommission you." His mental voice was gentle but absolutely determined. "Little human, I was already decommissioned the moment I chose to love you both instead of serving the Corps. Some failures are worth celebrating." 3 days later, the Galactic News Network carried a story that shocked the known universe. A rogue service dragon had somehow breached the security of 7 different star systems, infiltrated Vega Station, and stolen advanced genetic therapy supplies worth 12 million credits. But that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was that he'd done it not for himself, not for profit, not even for chaos, but for a human infant he considered family. The even more shocking part was what happened next. Dr. Kethara of the Altarian Medical Council resigned in protest over species-based medical restrictions. The Centauri Federation opened their hospitals to human patients. The Vegan Trade Union offered free transport for medical emergencies. Within a month, 17 different species had formally petitioned the Galactic Council to reclassify humans from developing to allied status. Zix landed gently in Lily's backyard as Jackson took his first healthy steps across the grass. The dragon had grown thinner during his months in hiding, but his eyes blazed with fierce joy as he watched the toddler stumble toward him on unsteady legs. "Mama, big friend!" Jackson giggled, pressing his tiny hands against Zix's snout. Lily approached more slowly, tears streaming down her face. She knew galactic security was closing in. They'd found Zix's hideout on 3 different worlds. Soon they'd find this one too. "You shouldn't have come back," she whispered. Zix's mental voice was warm with contentment. "Where else would I go? You are my family. This is my choice." The security ships appeared on the horizon like dark stars. Failed Service Dragon Zix 947. You are under arrest for theft, violation of species protocols, and unauthorized emotional attachment. Zix spread his wings protectively over his humans and smiled, an expression that should have been impossible for a dragon's face but somehow wasn't. "I am Zix 947, he announced to the ships to the galaxy, to anyone who would listen. "I am a failed service dragon, and I am exactly what I was meant to be." The galaxy would remember that a dragon learned to love from humans, and perhaps that was the most human thing of all. End.